So if you have trees in your landscape, especially young trees, you need to pay attention to something called irrigation. This is the time of the year that irrigation is critical if those trees are going to thrive, sometimes even if they're going to make it all together. So let me show you a few tips, a few things I did here that you can do to make sure your trees flourish. So first of all, this is just a little mini orchard I have of fig trees. Not the only fig trees I have, but these are the trees that I had in containers last year. I planted them in the fall in the ground, and they are looking wonderful even after being completely decimated. All the top growth gone from the Texas freeze, the big hard Texas freeze. Figs do not like cold weather. So what I've done is run a 1/2 inch line all the way, it's underground right now, all the way down here, and then that's all the 1/2 inch I ran. Then I'll show you what I did to go to the trees on the right. But let's show you how it hooks up first to the faucet. So this is my easy setup, just really simple. 1/2 inch tubing, 1/2 inch tubing, that's 1/2 inch. I've got an elbow here, just one L. I've got an elbow there, another L. This is a pressure reducer, regulator, and this is a timer. So I can set this timer, walk off, and not worry about it. In the past, I've set the timer on my phone or something like that, but this way I can just walk off and not worry about it. I love these little timers. I'll put a link to these below. I'll put a link to all the fittings and everything you'll need below the video, but I like that timer. So I came off the faucet, dug a trench, very shallow trench, 1 inch, 2 inches deep, something like that. And I know some of you up north are screaming that's not enough, but I didn't worry about this. First of all, we're not up north. Secondly, I don't worry about it freezing because I've got a place on the end where I can drain it anyway if I have to during the winter. And I've already, this is a couple of weeks ago in the grass, we've had a lot of rain and stuff. The grass has covered this up, but basically the 1/2 inch pipe runs all the way to this first plant, first fig tree. And what I did was just, as I got to the fig tree, I just kind of went around the tree. This pipe will bend a little bit without kinking, and did that. And then I'll show you how I hook up the hoses. This is a 1/4 inch line right there. That's a 1/4 inch line. It's coming out of the, going down into the 1/2 inch pipe that's running through here under this mulch. And then I've got an emitter on it, and I'll show you that later. The pipe follows this path up to this plant here, which is really doing good. All this growth is from this year. That freeze killed everything back to the ground, slapped back to the ground. I cut it all off because it was dead. So with this one, I can kind of show you what's going on. And that's just 1/2 inch pipe that runs from the faucet that I just showed you, runs to the next plant up this way. But here, I punch a hole in it, put a 1/4 inch barb, 1/4 inch line, and then an emitter on the end of it. You can see that emitter putting out 2 gallons per hour. And I've got a little something else I do here, and I'll show you that. I've got a little piece of, it's just electric fence wire. I've got that wrapped around it a couple of times, and then I stick the other end down in the ground just so I can drive through or walk through or whatever. I'll stick it down in the ground now if I can with one hand. And now from a distance, I can walk through and see that that emitter's working, that it's on and working and watering this plant. So let's go to the next one. Well, this plant did not fare near as well. This one did not make it. My only one out of 8 I had up here that did not make it. And so I ran an emitter to it anyway, but I've got it capped off so it's not putting out any water. That cap right there stops the water flow. But I will plant a new plant in there in the fall. It's too hot right now, but I'll plant one in the fall. The half-inch pipe goes all the way up to this plant and then terminates. I'll show you the termination in just a minute. Now what I did to run to these other plants, because digging in this soil is so difficult. This is hard red clay with iron ore rocks, and it is just a pain to dig in when it gets dry. It's like gumbo when it's wet, but it's a pain when it's dry. So it was all I could do, or all I wanted to do, to dig that trench all the way up to the faucet. When I got up here, I just made a decision, and I've done this before, so I know it works. I made a decision I'll go ahead and put this hose running to that plant. Got the little wire on it. It's putting out water. This hose is running to this plant, but this hose right here is a 1/4-inch hose. Punched a hole in the half-inch pipe, ran 1/4-inch hose. You can see it if you look closely. 1/4-inch hose all the way over. It's about 20 feet to the next plant. And I did that for both of these, all 3 of these plants. 1, 2, and this one here is 3. Now you're going to say, well, you're running 1/4-inch line on top of the ground. You're going to hit it with your lawnmower. It's going to freeze. It's going to be a problem. Well, I've already mowed once. I mowed pretty doggone short with my 0 turn, but it's not a problem. And let me show you why. I've got some high tensile wire, and I bent the wire in the form of staples. Now you can buy landscape staples, but I'm cheap. I want to make my own, and I've got that wire. It's high tensile, very strong, hard to bend, very stout galvanized wire. So I bent that, formed a staple, or just a V or a U-shaped, and then I came in here in specific places about 6 times in this 20 feet here that I'm running, and stapled it down to the ground, tight to the ground, so it would be held down, especially close to the plant where I knew I'd be mowing, making some circles around those plants and stuff, especially there. I've got a staple pretty close. Now I don't know that I can show you the staples now that the grass has grown over, but that's my point. After this year, I will never see that pipe again. The grass will cover it and it will be gone, forgotten. Now, if I come through here with my brush hog set too low, it could scrape it and pull it. So I've got to be careful, but as long as I know it's there, I can be careful. And as long as I know that if I hit it, I've got to fix it, I can be careful. So that's what I did there. This is how you cap it on the end. You put an end cap on it. That's just a figure 8. You slide the figure 8 over the pipe and then double the pipe back upon itself. It forms a kink right there, and that kink will not allow any water to come out. It kinks that pipe off real well. So an irrigation system is very easy to set up, and you should not be afraid of it. I've told you that before. Anyone can do it. And this, if you want to do long stretches, I'm telling you a simple way to do that, and that's by running this 1/4 inch on top of the ground. And if your ground is soft, yes, bury it. But my ground is horrible, and I can't bury it. So you can't even see that one. I can't even see it. We've had a little bit of rain since I put this in. There's one little place I see it right there. And then it pops up over here and is watering these figs. So easy setup for drip irrigation for trees, and you absolutely need that if you are to, if your trees are going to thrive. But sometimes if you're in the South, even if your trees are going to live, you're going to need some type of irrigation. So I highly recommend it. Hope I've explained it well. It's real easy to do. I've got a link below to the fittings I used, to the emitters I use. All these emitters are 2-gallon emitters. That's what I use all the way across my place. So easy to do, and I would recommend that you raise your emitters up. That little wire is kind of genius, if I do say so myself, simply because I don't know that I want it on the leaf, because that could cause some rust or something. But It just lets you know, like say I can drive by on the golf cart, I can walk by, whatever, and there it is dripping. I can see it. If I've got it turned on, I can see that all the emitters are working. None of them are stopped up, and they do stop up. I just did a video on that. They will stop up. So it's just an easy way to visually see that everything's functioning correctly, and you need that in the summertime. If you're in the South, get you some fig trees. Fig trees are the easiest care trees that I've found. Now they don't like cold weather. I got down to 0 here, and that was just too much for them. Had I protected them, had I covered them, maybe I could have saved them, but I don't know. I've got 2 huge fig trees back in the back that are about 7 or 8 years old, and it killed them back to the ground too. Figs don't like cold. That's what I'm trying to tell you. But if you're in the South, especially if you're in zone 7, 8, 9, 10, man, fig trees will provide fruit for you from now on. All right, hope that helps. Irrigate your trees. Doesn't have to be fruit trees. It can be nut trees or ornamentals, but irrigate your trees. All right, we're gone.